got our owl in the tree. We're getting ready to mount him on our vise here, and we'll get him mounted up. And we get him locked down. And start out cutting off the plug on his head, and then just a little bit of detail work around his face and his feet. And cut up underneath the tail between it and the tree. Just kind of open it up. Sometimes I just open it up a little bit. Sometimes I separate it quite a bit. So it really just depends on you and how deep you want to take it. And here you just see me drawing around his toes. Gonna show his toenails and just separating everything a little bit. I think this is the 43 gauge quarter pitch chain, which is the narrower stuff, which I like a whole lot for doing these rough outs. Get in a little tighter corners and stuff. It's narrower, it cuts a less groove. It's a thinner chain, so it can get in a little bit tighter spot. Just does a good job. So we're just separating the rocks from the tree roots, starting to do a little barking on the tree. And sometimes there's texture already in some of these trees, so it really depends. Sometimes I don't even do anything to the tree other than separate it and leave the texture that's already in it. And sometimes I carve more texture in it as I'm doing here. But either way, it don't take but an extra minute or two to put a bunch of, barky lines on it. And we're just moving up to the head there, and you can see here, going in, separating his beak from his face feathers. It ain't hard. It's just, like I say, really all you're doing is you're going around doing a little bit of drawing. It's already in place, so you just doing a little bit of separation, kind of like creating deeper shadows is really what you're doing. The machine, when it carves it, it puts everything there, but it leaves everything kind of rounded over in the corners and stuff, and the chainsaw can quickly go back in and give it a harder separation. So, we're just doing the face feathers and stuff, getting a little detail. And like all these carvings now, this right here is pretty much a quick down and dirty method. You can, like I say, spend as much time on them as you want. If you want to take them to the next level. Here we're just trying to keep it economical for the carver and the consumer. So you can see here on his tail feathers, or wing feathers here, in the model, I got the feathers coming down in a cross fashion. And on this one, I decided not to leave it cross, so I kind of cut them out. So that just depends on you. It takes a little bit longer to deal with them if you leave them crossed down there. So a lot of times I don't even cross them. I just knock that piece off and bring them together at the point. So that just depends on you, whether you stay with the model exactly or do a little modification. And you can see right here, I'm cutting that little bit of his tail off and shortening it up, your wing feathers, so it don't cross on his tail. They just kind of come together as a V. But they're there if you want to make them cross. It just takes a little bit more time to lay them in. Just about all of them, you spend a little more time on the face of whatever you are. That's the first thing people look at. You're just putting his eyes in. These are just my saber bits, hollowed out, make really good eye tools. So, somebody that got a drill press, they can drill them out. I use a lathe with a drill bit and drill them out on my lathe, but some people use two stones to make them. They put a the bit in one die grinder and a stone in the other, turn them both on, and then you can grind that hollow in the other one. That keeps it from jumping around. So here we are, just putting some, a little bit of detail on his feet. And the biggest difference between the eagle and the owl is, the owl just got a lot of face feathers and no beak hardly. The eagle got a big beak sticking out. But the rest of his body is pretty much the same. Here we are, just using the angle grinder to clean up the base a little bit. But once we get the base cleaned up, we probably hit him with a flap sander or nylon bristle brush. Sometimes, if I come back, I see something I missed, I come back and kind of touch it up a little bit. We all miss stuff sometimes. I get concentrating in one spot and I might forget to do a toe or a feather or something, and when I get ready to finish it, I say, oh shoot, I missed that whole backside there. I need to go put some feathers in there or something. So, that kind of stuff do happen. Here we are, got our nylon bristle brush for sanding, which I like a whole lot. They do a real good job, and just clean it up. If I was going to carve this completely from just a solid piece of wood, I could probably do him in an hour, 45 minutes or so. I wouldn't have as much detail in him probably as I do, in the rough outs. As far as all the chest feathers, carved in like they are. So, but yeah, but you could, knock one out in about an hour or so if you're, a pretty fast carver, I guess. Some carvers take longer, some probably do it a little bit quicker, but it's a whole lot more work involved, and you ain't gonna be able to stay at it at that pace real long. Where this here is a real, light pace, so you ain't gonna get wore out. It's all light tools. It's not using your big saws and stuff. So flapping, we're gonna get some fire on him, and we can't give him a little color. Darkening the tree up here, burnt. It does two purposes: get rid of the fuzz and give it a little bit of color. We're gonna be staining these afterwards, so we kind of doing this where if this is where you want to stop, just go with the burn look. We're gonna stain them. It's just quicker to clean up some of the fuzz with that fire, especially when you're gonna be painting them. Here's the regular Sandiflex. We're gonna just kind of knock some of that mud off of him, soften up some of the burn. We'll probably get ready to call him pretty much done as far as carving and burning part of it. We're gonna do a stain job on him later, but he could be finished from right here too if you wanted to. You could put a polyurethane on him or whatever type top coat you wanted to put on him. And lots of people just like the burn look, but like I say, we're gonna use a little stain on him here in a little bit, and it just brings out the contrast a little bit better. I thought we'd kind of go over the stuff that we use basically on coloring our carvings here. Our main things, I got some dyes here that I made by Mixall that you can mix with just about anything. I use basically water for the 90% of it. Mix, the dye with water. It's real easy to keep clean in my airbrush. But what I probably use even more than the colors is Minwax stain. I like golden oak, is probably my favorite light color. And then I use Vicinal and black walnut for my dark colors. Minwax makes hundreds of different colors. I basically use 90% of what I do. And as far as airbrush system, I got cheap Harbor Freight airbrush, or you can get them on eBay. That's about what we use for coloring our carvings. Hope this helped. Okay, we got our $15 airbrush we got from eBay here. Laying down our dark walnut stain, just separating the tree roots from the the rock base and start laying in feathers. Now I don't do this on all of them, but I thought I'd do it on this one. Is just draw a bunch of C's, which this actual carving already had high bumps, so it actually just shows you where the high and lows is. It makes it real easy. Just draw a bunch of C's and darken it up. Kind of draw around his body between him and the tree, and just doing our normal separation stuff. And get up, darken his eyes. You know, I use a beak, real fine and dark, couple of lines through his face, darkening some of the lines on the top of his face, just so they separate good. Lay them down, put some stripes across his wingtips, his tail, leave his chest pretty light, and use a little golden oak to soften the back, everything up, and that's about it. Hope you have a good one. Hooty hoot hoot. We'll see you on the next one.